Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed Makes, and today we are going to show you how to use this really fun new system called the Crossover 2. This is from the Crafter's Edge. It is behind me. We're going to do a little product review on it and how amazing it is and how many different things that you can cut with it, how unique it is compared to all the other die cutting systems. Links are down below where you can find your own Crossover 2 machine, and let's jump in and show you what it can do.
All right, so here's the actual machine, and I will have to say it's got a little bit of heft to it, which is totally cool because some of the lighter machines, I feel like when I turn them, they just wobble all over the place. And this one, once you set it up and you get it going, it's great. Truly, it's not that bad. You lift it up, you're good to go. All right, so here's the best part. It's a pull open machine. So number one, the little handle here closes up, right? And then it locks into place. And I can't close it unless I re-push the button, which I think is awesome. You turn it sideways, pop the sucker open, and it is ready to go. So the handle's over here. I know it's almost right off camera, but you get the idea. So the handle's over here, and then you have this dialing system. Now, how many other machines have you gone through? And sometimes you have to add like a sheet of paper, you have to add a little bit of some extra something, a shim is what we call it, into the machine because it just didn't quite cut through that die, or it didn't quite cut through that cardboard or that felt or whatever it is that you're doing. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Well, guess what? This little dialing system, and I'm gonna tilt this sucker so you guys can see. There we go. So right here is a little dial, and so it goes all the way up to 18 and all the way down to 0. And the higher up you go, the further apart those blades go. So I can dial it up, and it makes this piece a little bit wider, which means I don't have to worry about having different kinds of shims and plates. Same plates. The only thing is that these two rollers get further apart or closer together. So if you feel like, I need a little more pressure, totally cool. Dial it down. Make this space a little bit less. And there's a sheet that gives you all the information when you get the system. It gives you exactly what to do. So it's like a little cheat code in here. And inside the book, it gives you all the stuff about what to do and what pressure to put it on. So what setting, and then, how many layers that you can cut. And this is for fabric. So that's the other cool thing. This thing can cut a ton of stuff. So it goes through and it talks about all the different types of fabric. Cotton, quilt fabric, craft felt, wool felt, burlap, leather, faux leather, craft foam, you name it, it's got it in there, right? And talks about the pressure and less pressure and all that mess, which I just told you about. All right, and then it goes into and talks about paper, embossing settings, so you can emboss as well. And then if you've got steel rule dies, so if you've got different kinds of big dies and stuff, that's what it can do. All right, so here's the other cool thing. Look how giant this plate is. Now I can tell you, there are some times when having a nice small little die cut system is super handy, but there's also some great advantages to having a massive plate. I mean, look at the size of it next to my hand, right? Look how massive this thing is. It is fantastic. So you can do it just with the bottom plate and the top plate, and you put your die in there. And yeah, you're gonna make some holes, you're gonna make some little divots. It just means that you're using your stuff. Totally cool, right? You also get a single shim. This just helps create a little bit more of an impression when you're cutting through fabric. So this metal piece is super important when you're cutting felt, fabrics, things like that, because it helps get that little edge of the die, instead of sinking into the plastic, it's going to resist against that metal. So it'll give you a cleaner cut the first time around, which is fantastic because you hate to waste that fabric or that felt or whatever that stuff is that you're cutting, right? Even paper. That's the way it goes. All right, so let me show you. I'm gonna cut some paper. The cool thing about this particular system is that you can fit an entire sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. So you can stamp up this entire space and you can do everything you need to. Place down your dies. I just have a random selection of a few different dies from different companies. Some have embossing. They're just a little bit of everything, some intricate ones. And let's see how this thing cuts. Look, they're already popping out here. Woohoo, there they go, flying across. Look at that, amazing. So here, even you can see like an intricate one like this, cut out great. And then of course, the giant one. So it cuts through paper, no problem. And if you wanna put the metal piece inside of there as well, so you save this plate, you can. It is totally up to you. So I just showed you how it could cut through one sheet of paper, but what about two at the same time? So again, you can scale this up or down, you can move the dial. So it's super simple to cut. I have my star die for paper cutting, which, lots of dies that are paper or for fabric, they kind of work interchangeably. Go ahead and run this through. And take a look at this. Look at that. Cuts through, absolutely no problem. Easy peasy, easy peasy. But with paper crafting, we also love to emboss. So let's take one of these stars and emboss it, because this machine can do just about anything. Again, you don't have to worry about taking away plates or doing anything weird to it. All you have to do is adjust the dial. So one thing I have found, and I kind of line this up, I run my thing through and I realize it's just not going, it's not moving, it's not doing it. It's because it's too thick, which means you can just go ahead and dial it up, roll it through a little bit. Does it go through? Still not getting there. So let's say you lose your sheet that has the information about what setting to put it on. This is like the let's test to see if it works method. Ah, look, now it's going through, but what, did I go too far? Okay, well, roll it down a little bit. Let's see. Oh, still going through. And you want to make sure you have enough pressure with anything to cut it or emboss it. So that still feels like it's too easy. Oh, there we go. Let's see how that works. And there it is. Now, let's see if you can get that light on there. There it is right there. You can really see it as I catch that light on there. So it embosses beautifully as well. So we also all have these big, thick dies. This is what the Sizzix ones, the thicker ones, steel roll dies. You get them from schools and classrooms, all kinds of stuff. So how does that work with all this? Taking away the big, thick white plate, I just have the clear plastic plate below, my sheet of paper, my large die, and then now this one. I'm gonna dial it up quite a bit because this is super thick and you gotta get it through that die system. And we just run it through. And again, if you're like, it's not gonna make it. Oh, it made it, look at that. One right through. Paper's pretty thin, so it should go through no problem. And look at that. Punched right out, easy peasy. I didn't have to worry about switching out a whole lot of stuff, just got rid of one small element and they punched right through. And I could probably do more than one sheet of paper on this. Just again, change the dial on here. All right, so what about some other materials? This is a faux leather, so we're gonna test this as well. We're gonna take one of the dies. This is actually one of the dies that comes from Crafter's Edge. It is meant to work with fabric, but you know what? I've cut paper with it too. It works fantabulous. So go ahead and line it up. Usually I'm not like right smack in the center, but I really want you guys to see full scape how this works. We're gonna dial this back down because I don't have the giant die anymore, and we're gonna see that just feels too easy. Still too easy. Let me find the right pressure. All right, I think I got it. So I rolled it all the way down to about a 3 on here to see what it would do. And look at that. So I just kind of kept testing it. If it felt like it was going through too easy, I pulled it out and then ran it through, dialed it down, and then ran it through. And look at that, it cut through absolutely no problem. This is the faux leather, which is a material, so obviously it can cut materials itself. Let's try another one. All right, next up we have a piece of acrylic felt. So let's see how that works. So again, we're gonna test it. I mean, there is the sheet that says what all the different strengths are, but you know what? What if you lose it? That's the whole point. That feels pretty easy. We're gonna dial it down. All right, let's test it and see how it did. Look at that. It's like butter. Super, super simple to pop out. So easy, so pretty, works like magic. All right, well, what about something else? What about something else that's a little bit different, a little bit odd? This is Kids Fun Foam that you can get in the craft section at any of the big box stores. Again, I'm gonna dial this down because this stuff is pretty squishy, and let's see, yeah, that's gonna go through, but this stuff's gonna cut pretty easy. So I'm almost down to a 0 at this point, and I'm gonna roll it through. Probably could've gotten a little higher, it's getting a little stiff, which means I'm gonna get a good cut though. So obviously if I'm cutting something that's kid-friendly, paper's kid-friendly, material's kid-friendly, this is definitely usable with kids, super easy. Take a look at this, pops right out. So look at all the fun shapes you can make with your kids now. Using all these cool shapes, you can cut out different kinds of fun foam and they can make their own stickers, they can do all their fun stuff. And so instead of having to go out and buy those foam kits, you can make your own with the dies that you have at your house. Because look how easy, look how cool that is, that popped out, awesome. And the last one I'm going to show you, there is a ton, if you go online, pretty much any fabric is up for grabs. I wanted to show you the felt, but lots of other fabrics are available. This is made specifically for quilting, so you can cut with quilts, but you know, like sky's the limit of what you can cut with this. This is cardboard, corrugated cardboard. This happens to have a kind of a cool pattern on it. So we're going to try the cardboard, because why not? I got it. We're going to show off all the fun stuff that we have. and run it through again. I still have it on a nice low setting because this is, it needs to go up a bit. See, I had a little bit too much resistance. We're gonna dial this thing up just a little titchy bit. Run it through. And look at that, so cool. Super easy, pops out no problem, cut right through. Love it. So this is truly your one-stop shop when it comes to getting a die cut system, a manual die cutting system. You can cut steel rail dies, those thick dies. You can emboss with it. You can cut paper, multiple layers of paper, cardboard, faux leather, felt, fun foam, among many, many other things. If I can cut multiple layers of paper, I can also cut multiple layers of all of these. In the booklet, it actually tells you how many layers you can do of particular things. Something really thick like the faux leather, it says 1 layer, but something like a thin cotton, you can do up to 7 layers of that. It also tells you what your settings can be, and it also gives you some information about, you know, how many layers and so forth and what settings with the different levels of, you know, chipboard and stuff like that. So super, super fun, super easy, great machine for anybody. It's kind of like if you're gonna get it, get a good one. This is an awesome one. Thanks so much for stopping by. Links are down below where you can find your own crossover machine. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.